What's up, Rebel Scum? Well, I bet you were wondering what we were going to do for a Rebel Scum Rewind this month. I was wondering too. And then I kind of got inspired checking out some mini rigs recently. And I did a little research, and to my surprise, they go well beyond the vintage collection. I mean, I knew there were a few in the Power of the Force 2 collection, but they go as recently as 2016, which was kind of shocking. So I did a little diving into our archives and a little bit of exploring to what hopefully is complete, or the best depiction of mini rigs as far as they have existed in the Hasbro line. So today's Rebel Scum Rewind is called Mini Rigs Big Fun, because we're going to be exploring what exactly these vehicles are, why they're sort of a part of collecting for the last 30 years or so, and you know, what they aren't as well. So mini rigs are just off-camera sort of vehicles that are in the Star Wars universe. They are not from the expanded universe. They are not from the concept art series. These only exist basically in toy form. They haven't been adapted from a comic book. So what mini rigs aren't is like a different colored speeder bike or something like that. Like a speeder bike is a speeder bike. It's not a mini rig. Mini rigs are not like a large troop transport. They are not a larger multi-person vehicle. These are generally, with the exception of maybe one, or maybe one or two, and we'll get to that in a moment, are generally like small single-piloted vehicles that are, like I said, just off camera, have some kind of compatibility with other toys, or just a little bit different. And we'll give you a lot of examples so you can sort of get the sense of that. But I know there are like, you know, expanded universe, shadow bike troopers, or the snow speeder bikes, or there is the First Order two-person snowcraft that was from the deleted scenes, or the Jakku sand speeder. Those things were, you know, concepted for the film. They were part of, they might have made a camera appearance, but not made the final cut. They're not really mini rigs. I mean, they exist in some medium. These were never, never intended to be on film, were never part of a movie or anything like that. A couple of them did appear in a cartoon, and that was basically to use the cartoon as a toy commercial. So we'll address that when we get to it. But that is mini rigs. So in the original vintage line, they are very clearly defined as mini rigs. Beyond that, we'll have to explain where they are and why we think they're mini rigs by our standard, or by the standard that Kenner has set out before us. So without further ado, we're going to get into it, and I'm going to bring you in nice and close because you don't want to see me. You want to check out these awesome little products. We'll drop some knowledge on you. We'll give you some nice product shots, some packaging shots where available, and we'll take this little journey through 30 years of mini rigs. Okay, we are going to try to do these by collection. So this is going to be a big dump on this first one, big data dump for you, and then it's going to get a little bit easier. So we're going to start out with 1981. This is the MLC3, the Mobile Laser Cannon. Now, this is a Rebel-affiliated mini rig. I got a box here. My box is a little beat up, so bear with me on the box. But you can see this great artwork showing the Rebels. It's a Hoth sort of based box here. This is one of those weird boxes that had that extra long panel that folded out. But yeah, that's essentially the box artwork here. So this featured these rotating cannon guns that had the dome that lifted up here for the pilot to go into. My dome is not being, oh, I'm sorry, the whole thing lifted, not just the dome. And then he sat in there, and you could see the little panels in there for the character to operate the machine. And then it had these fake treads, but these real wheels on the bottom there. So that is the MLC3. Pretty cool. So this is the Rebels when they were on Hoth patrolling or fighting against the Imperials, just off camera. But this is that vehicle. A lot of these are going to be based on the Battle of Hoth. Some will be based on the Battle of Endor, and we'll get to that. The next up we have is the MTV7. Now, this is the multi-terrain vehicle. Now, this is an Imperial-affiliated one. I don't have a box for this. You could insert it here so you can check out what that looks like. Some great artwork on there. And all this had was a rotating cannon on top here. And then you could put one pilot in there. And then it had this like low-riding vehicle system where you could duck it. And the wheels didn't really work when it was ducked. And they're honestly not working very well on this table. Maybe more for carpet. But that was essentially all this did. That was the function of it. Fun little I would imagine big wheels, all-terrain, but it was, again, Battle of Hoth. So that was the association with this one. This came out around Empire Strikes Back, so that makes sense that most of these are going to be Battle of Hoth. So we got one more from 1981, and that is the PDT, and that is the Personal Deployment Transport. Again, I don't have a box for this one, but I'll put the box right here so you guys can check it out. Now, this is also a Rebel-affiliated vehicle, I guess, for getting around Echo Base. You had these opening front and backs here for something to walk in, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that transport that we saw at the end of Star Wars, where they got on and took the little shuttle from the Falcon over to the briefing room. But you had these jet propulsions, where I imagine were for vertical takeoff, and then could maneuver around like that. And then you had these lasers on the side here. So that was really all that was featured on this one, some sticker artwork, and then you had this non-retractable landing gear. So this one was more of a transport than it was a vehicle, but it did a job. It's a rig. It carried people around. It was a people mover. So it did have a function there. So that is the last one from 1981. Let's move on to 1982. These next two are my favorite. First, we're going to have the Cap 2, which is just Captivator. And this is an Imperial one. I love this little, automaton look to this thing. Great box artwork too. So you can see this here. This is the Cap 2. I love how they have Bosk operating it. Now I imagine this was designed to go across the battlefield and pick up the Rebel stragglers after the Battle of Hoth. You could see one here being held by Bosk, working as a contractor for the Empire. So basically, you had these working arms that kind of grab things. You had this little, I guess, stun gun. Maybe it was non-lethal. It has a thruster here. The top open for your character, and you can see the controls in there. And then the back had the function feature, where it would open up and let you grab somebody to hold them there as you continued along the battlefield. So you can only really grab one at a time, but pretty weird, fun-looking vehicle. I just love the design of this thing. It does not have a very good center of gravity, so you need to like have another point of contact to get it to stand. But yeah, it's so weird. But again, it's a rig. It's getting its job done by grabbing people, so that was the function of this. Next up, we have the INT-4, and the INT-4 is the Interceptor. So I have the box for this here as well. My boxes are not in the best of shape, but you can see the artwork here on this great box. So again, Battle of Hoth. And what was kind of fun about this one is, here's a shot of it. It tucked up and it was designed to fit inside the original AT-AT. So like I said, off camera, you couldn't see it because the AT-AT door was closed, but that's where it was hiding. So these, a lot going on with this one. It's got this cannon here. It's got this great red visor on there. Your figure could fit in the top here. So again, designed for one figure. And the wings folded up like this, and then that tucked inside the AT-AT. So yeah, it was kind of fun how that did that, so it would be able to pop out. And it kind of looks like the head of the AT-AT the way it's designed too. So nice little stealing of the design there. Non-retractable landing gear, and that was really it. So this was a really cool little mini rig that designed to tuck inside your other vehicle. Again, functioning as a toy, but still cool nonetheless in the world of Star Wars. So that concludes our look at the 1982. We're going to move on to 1983. So now we're in Return of the Jedi. And we're going to start with this AST-5, which is Armored Sentinel Transport, this little coffin-looking thing here. So you can see the box right here. So this isn't affiliated with the Empire or the Rebels. This is sort of affiliated with mercenaries, specifically Jabba and his band of bandits. So this thing can kind of maneuver like this for takeoff. It's kind of weird. It has these guns on the side here. You can hear that great clicking. I love the clicking on the original things. And then the way you did is the person would just kind of hop in this coffin-like structure here with the little readouts, and then he would it would lift and take off. And yeah, you can see the thrusters right there. So just one of those weird vehicles, kind of looks like how the Slave One takes off. So that is a weird little mini rig that we never got to see, or it needed a purpose, but it is fun to look at nonetheless. Very odd design. So that is the AST-5. Next up, we have the ISP-6, and this is the Imperial Shuttle Pod. I actually have a book for this one here. So again, you see this in the desert. So I guess on the return to Tatooine, you can see some of the Royal Guards there, along with Darth Vader and a snowtrooper in the desert. Kind of weird, but that is the weird box artwork on this one. And this one here, I mean, obviously it's a mini shuttle Tydirian. I mean, it looks exactly like it, but it's only for one person. So this one had a couple of fun features here. So it had the wings that deployed down when you hit the button there. The top opened up again for one character. A ton of stickers in there. You can see in the panel work. And on the bottom here, I think this pushed in to get their wings to go up so you could reset it. And then it had those lasers right here on the sides. So a lot going on this one. Very cool. So it's basically a mini shuttle. So you don't have to buy that giant one. The giant one's awesome though, but you get a little mini one for one person, individual transport essentially. Very cool, but that is just a very tiny version of it. So we're gonna hop ahead to 1984. And we're going to be checking out the Desert Sail Skiff. Again, affiliated with the Mercenaries. Oh, the ISP-6, by the way, was affiliated with Imperials. This wasn't clear from the box. This 1984 Desert Sail Skiff is affiliated with the Mercenaries, if it's not very obvious from the design here, which looks exactly like the katana. A very small version of the katana. So I do have the box for the Desert Sail Skiff here in better condition, because we're getting a little closer in years here. This is 83, so you can see Boba Fett piloting it, and you have some of the other characters there as well. So a lot going on right here on this great box artwork. So the Desert Sail Skiff was the closest we had to the katana back in the 80s. It had, again, that great clicking, this rotating pilot top, that sail at the top there. You could move out of the way if you wanted to get your character in there. And I believe it had a retracting, yeah, here it is, a little board. And as you saw in the box art, you could push Luke Skywalker off of that into the Sarlacc pit. And then it had these, as you turn this, you notice the fins turn in the back too. How cool is that? So that was all connected there. So a lot of great little stickers on the bottom, some stickers in the top here in this section. So everything looked pretty awesome. And then you had that sail covering it. So it was a great little mimic of Jabba's sail barge, even though it was this very tiny front. And this artwork here, kind of, the design looks a lot like the full-size skiff as well. So again, this was like a budget skiff. Fun fact about this one, it appeared in the Droids cartoon. I can't remember exactly which episode, but I do remember seeing it there. So like I said, we're around the time the Droids came out, they needed to sell these things. So they started throwing them in the cartoons. I'll show you two other ones that appeared in the Droids cartoon as well. It also has these little trident guns on the side here for firing. So we have one more from 1984. Jumping to the Battle of Endor, we have the Endor Forest Ranger. This one is associated with the Rebels. I don't have a box for this one, so I'm just going to show you the box right here. Very cool. What I do have is the instructions though, so you can see some little more artwork here on the Endor Forest Ranger. And this one gives me big Episode 3 energy for those droid tanks, this round design to the front of it with the cannons. So during that Battle of Kashyyyk, we had tanks like this. I mean, they had the elongated treads on the side, but this design here at a very early phase gives me that energy here. So we have this retractable landing gear that tucks up, and then you get it and you kind of like steer it. It's on this like gyro function, so you could spin the guns around and it still maintains its heading. So it just has this ability to sort of shift around like that. So that's pretty cool to have that as a toy. And in the front, it has this nice like DeLorean style opening where the top opens up this way instead of out. And then you can see all these great stickers in here on the side and on the top as well. But that is essentially the Endor Forest Ranger, and it's green, so it kind of blends in with the forest. So a lot of nice detail on that guy as well. So that concludes our look at the basic vintage line, and now we're going to go into the Power of the Force part of the vintage line for 1985. So here we are in 1985 with the Power of the Force collection. We have had a packaging shift as we have transitioned here. We now have blister cards. So this is going to be the Imperial Sniper vehicle. This is associated with the Empire, obviously, here. You can see that really great artwork on the card here with the Stormtroopers and the Death Star gunner riding this guy. And you just see a little bit of instructions on how to make this function, and they display it with the Death Star gunner here. And then the other vehicles from the line showing you what you could do with this guy. So this is a fun one here. I like it. It's kind of like a glider. It's got this belt that clamps across the top. It's got the wings that deploy here with the laser guns on the edge here on the side. And then you can see the stickers for the engine to make the glider go. And essentially what you have is you have this little hook that you control with the dial here on the side. And you could use it to grab people as you swoop down on them. So that is basically it for this mini rig. It's one of my favorite because it's just so odd and weird. And it's associated with my favorite character in the line, which is the Death Star gunner. Really hoping we see a jumbo of that guy at some point. He's just a really fun design. So yeah, that is the Imperial Sniper. Next up, I have a box for this one as well. This is going to be the one-man sand skimmer. So again, this is another one with that packaging change. So this is also for the mercenary cell, which is Jabba's people. And here we go. Now, both this and the Imperial Sniper were both actually featured on droids as well. So you'll see them in that show, another way to help sell the toys. So this one here, you could rotate the gun. You hear that clicking with this dial on the side here, and it makes the sail change direction and helps you point the cannon. So your character just stood on the top here, grabbed the handlebars, and you could see the stickers for the engine and then the instrument panel here. That was really it. It was the one-man sand skimmer, just kind of swooped around like this. Some detailing on the bottom, but nothing major here. That was all the functionality of this thing. Still pretty cool. I like it. They got more unique as they got into this Power of the Force line. They were also tinier. I mean, you can see there's a lot more minimalist just checking out these two here. So this next one's kind of important. I don't have a packaging for it. It's the Security Scout, and this is Rebels, obviously associated with Battle of Endor. You can see the camouflage here on the side. Here's a shot of an in-package look of what this looks like, essentially in packaging. And you would just put your Rebel soldier or other character in here, secure him with the belt. He has this, I guess, side impact for his head here, and then he has the bar to control it. It just kind of floated, had an engine on it, and then it had these rotating cannons. So he could just kind of do patrols around Endor. And then the fin here just helped steer wind direction. That's basically it. But I want you to remember this one because this looks like a backpack accessory, which essentially it was. It was a device to enhance the character, and we'll see this come back in the Power of the Force 2 collection, which is just up next. So let's jump forward 10 years into the Power of the Force 2 collection. This isn't going to be exactly 95 when the next one is, but that's when the next collection launches 10 years from now, or from 85. So let's jump forward in time and start exploring mini rigs in the Power of the Force 2 line. So here we are. We have arrived in 1996, starting with the Power of the Force 2 line. Mini rigs are back. The packaging design is back with that blister card. This time, the only artwork is really on the back, showing off the product. And this is Luke Skywalker's Desert Sports GIF. So Luke's Sports GIF here, essentially. This time around, mini rigs come with figures. These are unique figures. He's got this little hole in the back here for mounting something on his back. I'm not really sure because there was no peg on this. His feet just go right here on the skiff. The handlebars lift up from the lay flat you just saw here. His hands go on the mounts to hold it. So it essentially looks like a sand jet ski. And then the really cool feature here is you push the button and boom, the wings pop out. And now you have these lasers mounted on the side. He can zap around and bullseye womp rats. And it's the 90s. So what does it have? It has a firing missile on the front as well. Everything into the 90s fired a missile. So you get a little instrument panel and then that's basically it. So mini rigs came back with a vengeance. This is exactly the spirit of the mini rig, that it is a off-camera sort of little device, imaginative, toy-based only, not used in any other medium. This time coming with some figures, so you're getting a little bit more value. Next up, remember how I told you to remember that Endor security scout? Well, our next mini rig is going to be Han Solo with his smuggler flight pack. So again, the backpack makes a return. So Han, our boy here, is sporting this extra large backpack here for helping him move cargo. So he has these little pinchers here that could help, oops, sorry, jumping the gun on that one, literally, that could help him move his cargo. Essentially, as he zaps around in this backpack, he could grab things. So it's a fun little option there. And then as a smuggler, he has to fight off some pirates, maybe the Empire. So you flick the switch and the guns pop out there. One got caught on my finger. They pop out in unison if you're not have your hand in the way. And then you could fire these extra large guns at anybody coming at you and then reset them back. What was also cool about this is you got a unique Han Solo figure. So you could see him here in his little orange vest. And this was only unique to this, this set, essentially the deluxe Han Solo. And he looked pretty secure, like the strats belonged here, and this went down on top. So could not get him to stand. It was just too heavy with the backpack, but you could pull him out of there and make him stand on his own. So a very cool design here with this backpack, but we're going to see more backpacks as we continue on to the next one, which is my favorite, the Crowd Control Stormtrooper. Very cool design with this extra deluxe sort of look to him. So if you're on patrol on the streets of Tatooine, and this one does stand on its own, you're going to have some unruly guests popping out of the cantina. So you can grab them with this little pincher here and zap them with this taser. And if you need to get across really quick to another district, you flick the switch and out come the jets. So you had this great jetpack for taking off here. So a lot of gear on this thing. I mean, he's really kitted out. Love it. He had sort of sandy finish to him. It's hard to, I don't know if you could tell, it's barely on there, just like sort of freckled on there. But this, again, off camera, things get unruly on Tatooine. These guys had to take care of business. They came in with this giant pack. I mean, you got these flexible hoses on there too. Very, very cool. Love this guy. He's got like a little, I don't know if this is a rocket launcher or some kind of phase reader or something. Very kitted out, very cool. If I was on my own patrolling to a place like Tatooine, this is the gear I'd want. So, and again, another unique stormtrooper. The only thing unique about him is the slight freckling of the sand, but he's got a hole in his back to mount the pack onto. So he just pressure fits into there, essentially. So ending our backpacks, still in 1996, we have the deluxe Boba Fett. This one doesn't have a name, but I'm going to call it just, Bounty Hunter Gear Boba Fett. So again, unique Boba Fett, only unique because he has that hole in the back there. This threw over the top here, and this one has a lot to really make him look kitted out. So if you bear with me as I get the release switch, you push this and these two wings pop out. You can see all these little missiles here along the side. You have these pivoting guns here. And then of course, again, it is the 90s. So what does that mean? He's gonna have a firing rocket launcher right at the top there to help him combat his prey. And that's going to retract and tuck back. So, I mean, look at all that gear. You have these nice painted rockets on the inside here. You have these rotating cannons. You have this jetpack that's like a super deluxe enhanced jetpack. He's got his insignia here on the side of the mythosaur. Like, he's got a lot going on for him. And he can still stand. So that pack gives him an extra point of contact. And then when you're cooling off, you just kind of retract everything into place, turn the guns back down, and there you are. He's all tucked away again. A little harder to stand this time when all the weight's behind him, but he's tucked away again. So very cool. True essence of a mini rig. You just pop this and the whole device comes out. You could separate from him, but true essence of a mini rig, just like that security scout. So pretty cool. It's all packed in there. And the feature of it popping out. So all these had that pop out feature. A couple of them had the rocket launching feature. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that is our look at our 90s mini rigs. Very cool designs. These all came with characters, so just a little bit more value in there with all these guys. But keeping it fun, keeping it on the classic characters we all love, and a little bit more of an imaginative function to them. So we're going to fast forward now. I think we're heading all the way to 2012, as I recall. Or I'm sorry, we still have one quick stop over in the 1999 episode 1 line for some fun guys there. So a little bit surprised about this. I hope you guys enjoy this next part. So let's just fast forward right into that collection, just 3 years away from here. So here we are, moving ahead just a few years to 1999 with the episode 1 line. This line spanned, I believe, 2 years, 99 and 2000. So from 99, we have this episode 1 Armored Scout tank with battle droid. Now, these tanks were featured in the climax of the film, but they were much larger, had multiple characters piloting them. This, in true mini-rig fashion, is a tank designed for just one character. Think of the ISP-6, the shuttle that was like the large Imperial shuttle, but boiled down to just one character. So again, capturing the essence of mini-rigs. This is brand new. I just picked this up for this segment, so we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing. This was $9.99 back in the day, and I think I paid about maybe $15 for it, so not much appreciation on it. That line was not super popular. There's only a couple in this line, but I just got one to show you. So we're going to start out with this guy here. So he has a nice little background from the Gunga battle here. And then, what's this? There's going to be firing missiles. It's 1999. It's still the 90s. So we're going to have firing missiles. That's the trend here. So we're just going to pop him out here out of a couple of his little binders. Here we go. Is there one little hidden binder there? Yes, there is. One little hidden binder. Okay. No, he still doesn't want to let go. Okay. These were those wire binders that were very popular in the 90s too. He's got his unique blue design to him. I think that means he's a pilot. I'm not very up to date on my battle droid colors. So here we go. We have another little holder clip in there for this, and then we have some clips on the missiles as well. Everything's in there. Very secure. Anti-theft devices. I think they give you a spare. We'll see in a moment here how this loads in. Oh no, you do load 2 in here. Do they both fire? We'll find out. We're learning together. I never had this. I didn't have much of the episode 1 line. So it looks like the droid doesn't have any bending legs or anything. So he's just going to kind of sit in here, I think in a true like seated fashion. And he's going to grab onto this. I think he can grab onto the bar at least. I hope he can. It's no fun if you can't. He's got one thumb, and he's really giving me a ride or battle here. All right, here we go. We got him on one side. We're going to do this, just have him coming in from the side here. 90s toys, not that much fun anymore. Okay, here we go. So we got him seated in his little battle tank here. You can see his feet underneath, not much on the bottom. And that is basically it. So he has these twin firing missiles. He has this tank that in essence looks like the tank. What do we think the missile launch button is? Oh, look at that. You can make him drive the tank. He just goes back and forth as he's driving in a very cartoon fashion. I don't see a button release launch for the missiles. So I'm sure it's maybe it's on the packaging. Oh, it just is firing knob. So it's maybe you're turning this. There we go. Okay, so as you turn this, he fires the missiles. So one turn makes it fire one way, and the other turn makes it fire the other way. So pretty cool. That's the feature for the firing there. But that is, in essence, the return of mini rigs. Here we go in 1999. We're going to be going more forward. I told you all the way to 2016. So you're going to be seeing these things again. So the other two from this line I did not get. There was also like a mounted blaster. That's not a mini rig, it's a gun. So it needs to be a vehicle of some sort. So I didn't include that one, but there were just 4 vehicles in this line, or 4 items in this line, the gun being the other one. So the other thing we had is the Gungan Scout sub with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you can see that right here. Now this was the vehicle that the Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar used to get to the surface of the Naboo, but this is a very tiny version only for one character. Again, a mini rig inspired by the larger item boiled down to be an individual little sub, essentially. It's called the Gungan Scout sub. So that's another example for you. And last but not least, we have this Sith attack speeder with Darth Maul, which you can see here. And it's not the Sith speeder, it's the Sith attack speeder. So it's a much beefed up version. You can see it in this like armored sphere looking thing. It actually looks like those probes that he sent out to go look for things, like that sort of dome type structure to it. So it's reinforced. So it's not just the skimmer, the speeder he had. This is the Sith attack speeder, so it's got a lot more on it. Did not see him use this, but if there was an off-camera instance where he had to attack a bunch of Tusken Raiders or something, maybe he did. So a little bit of fun creativity there, and just purely a toy. So again, the essence of mini rigs. So that's all for the Invasion Force series and the episode 1 line. So we're going to move forward now about a decade essentially to 2012 in the movie Heroes line. And we got some very unique and very rare and very expensive on the secondary market mini rigs for you guys to take a look at. So here we are in 2012 with the movie Heroes line in the Class 1 vehicle subline here. These originally retailed for $16.99, believe it or not. And right now, I mean, I picked this guy up just for this bit. He was about $35. The other ones in the line are over $100. It's crazy. These are very rare, I guess, the ones in this line. They held their price for some reason. This is the Naboo Royal Fighter with Obi-Wan Kenobi, based on his episode 1 look. Does this ship look familiar? Well, it should. Again, it's Queen Amidala's Royal Starship, but boiled down for just one person, just like a mini rig, that ISP-6 again. So that's where we're basing that standard off of and calling these mini rigs, because it's essentially, in essence, a mini rig. So we're going to pop this open just for this segment. This is something I just picked up. Never had any of these before. They're very weird. And again, like I said, they are kind of rare, I guess. Not a lot of people got these when they came out, because they are definitely commanding a premium on the secondary market right now. And I'll tell you the other two that are really commanding a price in a moment. So hopefully I can figure out how to get this guy out of here. Now these came with a bunch of things, as I recall. Yeah, there was some kind of die, and then a card, Galactic Battle Game, that's it. So you can see the hanger right here in the back from Naboo. And you can see a little comm device, little headset for Obi-Wan. So we'll pop that on there. We have our Obi-Wan figure right here, with these weird little rubber bands holding him in that have come over time. And you can see that little lightsaber hilt with the blade. This one is, wow, this is, I used to put rubber bands on these to hold all the parts together so they wouldn't come apart in the box. I think these ones separated, or maybe they didn't. It just has the extra glow at the bottom now. So I assume this just goes on his head here. I'm not looking at any instructions. Yep, and then he looks like he's a pilot all of a sudden. See if there's anything holding this in place. No, just one rubber band. And here is your mini rig. So it looks very much like the larger spacecraft, except it's not chrome this time. So it's going to open up and just allow one pilot in. So we're going to put our pilot, our Obi-Wan, in there with his little headset on. Fits in there nicely. And then we have the style of that Naboo starfighter there. There's no landing gear or anything. So we just have these retractable lasers here. So on each side, you can push these out. And I think that is it in terms of the features. We'll look at the back here to make sure I got it all. Yep, hidden cannons there. These cannons, they're not really hidden. They're just cannons that retract. So that is your mini rig there for emanating your episode 1 line. So the movie Heroes had a lot of different errors and a lot of different focus on some characters in the 375 line. So again, this is really mimicking that style of that vehicle. The other two we had in this line was the Attack Recon Fighter with Anakin Skywalker. This is one that is well over $100 if you want to try to get this one right now. And again, it's a smaller version of like a Jedi Starfighter or something like that. It's very, very, very tiny. Again, one pilot, although his was one pilot, I mean, but it's small. It's not the full-size Jedi Starfighter. So it's a recon fighter. So again, off camera for small little sprint missions. And the last one that also commands quite a premium is the Republic Attack Dropship. Now you can see it right here. You could see them piloting and then being able to drop people. Like I said, this is one of those ones where it's more than one person. But this is that large Republic carrier, Republic, those from Clone Wars, those troop transports, the attack ships, drop ships. But again, this is for just one pilot and then like one person to drop off or something like that. It's a condensed version of that larger craft, which essentially is what mini rigs are sometimes. So kind of fun that they snuck a couple of these into that 2012 line. This one was just one I wanted to show you as an example, because it in essence is that larger version of the ship shrunk down, so it's easy to use this as an example for that. So we only have one other line left, and this is going to be the Force Awakens line, which launched in 2015 around the movie. Surprisingly, mini rigs came back when Star Wars came back into theaters. So let's move forward and check those out next. So here we are at our final line. This is going to be the Force Awakens line that went from 2015 to 2016, and this is part of their vehicles. And you can see here, this is the Assault Walker vehicle with the First Order Sergeant. Now, the Assault Walkers were not in the movie. They were supposed to, I don't know if they were supposed to be. I didn't see any deleted scenes with Assault Walkers. But this one was supposed to be in Takodana. It was just supposed to be patrolling the area or something like that. So, again, a mini rig. It's just a one person piloted walker. It kind of has the vibes of those walkers you see in the Clone Wars, but this is for the First Order, and it has essentially looks the same and functions the same as I forget what those were called, but not quite as large either. It's a lot shorter. So again, I purchased this one just to check it out. This was only about $15. I think originally it was about $20, so this one might have went down in value. So you have your First Order Sergeant figure that it comes with here. There's a little black pauldron. And then you have your vehicle in here held in by a series of these little twines. So we'll just use our sprue cutters to cut through those. And pop, pop. There we go. This one, pretty easy to get out like that. I like fighting with these things. So here we go. Here's our walker. No instructions. We're just going to wing it on this one. We're going to get the legs into position like so. We'll see if this thing stands. And hopefully it does. Feel like it's going to teeter over. Oh, here we go. I think you're supposed to put it forward just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So standing like any walker does here, essentially. I could see this little antenna array, these controls here, these guns here, and another turret in the front. We'll get our character in, and I don't know. I'd be surprised if he grabbed these handlebars. Let's see if they have them in the artwork grabbing any handlebars. Nope, they took the easy way out. They just have them depicted on the side here. I don't think these maneuver any which way. Oh yeah, they do. Okay, so they come down. So then you just kind of put the hands in here, if you can. So this is back when we had the world of 5P. I'm not going to fight with this. Back when we had 5POA, we didn't really have the ability to articulate the hands. So you just kind of had to have them perfectly working them. But these handlebars do come down. And if you wanted to, you could put the hands on them to help him grab it and make it look like he's piloting this thing. But this is essentially just a little walker that you could use to walk through Takodana and attack the rebels in that invasion when they kind of destroyed Maz Kanata's castle. But again, off camera, not in the film, just a fun little thing that they designed here to give you another toy in the line, essentially. And that is really it for this one. So there was another version of this. There was an Entertainment Earth exclusive version. It came with a Stormtrooper officer instead of a Stormtrooper sergeant. You can see the packaging right here. This was just a desert version, basically. It was the same thing, but on Jakku, they had something like this in order to go after the resistance. So another kind of walker. So this one has a forest camo that was more just tan, beige, whatever, to have that sort of look. And that was it, basically, for the film-inspired ones. There was one other one in this line, and it was Kanan Jarrus in his Y-Wing Scout Bomber. And as you can see here, that was just a mini version of a Y-Wing. So, again, like the ISB-6, like the other craft we showed you, it's a boiled-down version of a larger vehicle. a mini rig, one single pilot again, which the Y-wing I think is just one pilot anyway. Maybe you could fit two in there, I think. But yeah, again, a mini rig. It's just a little bomber, a scout bomber. So fun. So that was from the Rebels. Basically, but it was part of the Force Awakens line. It launched under the Force Awakens label. This guy made an appearance actually in the Rogue One line, which launched in 2016, and it was a repackage of this exact same thing in a different box with the Death Trooper on it. So it was the Rogue One packaging. So 2016 would mark the official end of the mini rigs, as far as I can tell. That was the last year that I was able to trace any kind of mini rig production. I didn't see any mini rigs by these definitions in the vintage collection line. I didn't see anything in the Han Solo line. I didn't see anything in the Last Jedi line. So that was around when they stopped being individual 375 figures and then shifted over to being the vintage collection. Essentially, they stopped doing the just the 5 POAs. So that is around the end of mini rigs, unless Hasbro decides to bring them back in the vintage collection line. So as far as I could tell, these ended in about 2015 or 2016 in the repackaging, and this was the last official mini rig when he was repackaged in that 2016 line for Rogue One. And here we are at the end of our journey. I hope you enjoyed this November rewind of mini rigs. Big fun. We looked at everything from 1981 in the vintage collection all the way up to 2016 in that Rogue One collection. 35 years of mini rigs. That is surprising. When I started off, I was aware of the mini rigs and the 95 line, bringing these back. Did not know about the Invasion Force series of 99. Did not know about the ones from the 2012 movie collection, and was not following this close enough to know that they resurged back with the Force Awakens. If you look at these trends, very interesting here. So we had the original line, then we had the 10-year gap, the dark times, before the lines returned. And when 95 hit with Power of the Force 2, 1 year later we get the mini rigs coming back into that line as well. So the mini rigs returned. When we got movies returning, and not special editions, but like new trilogy coming out in 1999, the mini rigs made a return. We had another transition period where we had no film, but the mini rigs returned in 2012. And then we have a new sequel trilogy starting in 2015, and the mini rigs returned. So there seems to be a trend. Whenever we get a new set of films, like a new trilogy, I don't know if we're getting any more Skywalker saga trilogy. I thought that was supposed to end with 9. But if we do, maybe the mini rigs will make a return. But in the meantime, hopefully Hasbro will bring the mini rigs back. We have this vintage collection line. We've seen this box art return of the original like special action figure sets and stuff like that. They could bring that great paneling back that we showed you on those mini rig boxes with that extra flap, which they did for the Wampa with the special edition packaging when they were doing the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back collection for the Black Series. So they can do that. We've seen them do it. But do some vehicles like that in the vintage collection. Bring back these great mini rigs like the mobile laser cannon or something, and that vintage packaging. Modernize them a little bit. But get us some mini rigs. They're just kind of like a tradition here in collecting, and you can't argue that. There's 35 years of mini rigs. We have tons of them, not just in the original line. We got another resurgence here, and here. They're out there. There's a lot of mini rigs. There's a couple dozen. So it'd be nice to get some more. It's been a while. They're just fun. They're very imaginative, off camera, something different, purely for the sake of toy. It's just a company trying to create more, products in an already grand world worth of products by creating new stories on their own with these toys and helping you explore. But as a kid, it was awesome to be able to go beyond the silver screen, beyond the story, and have a new sort of avenue to explore here. And that's what mini rigs did in that collection when I was a kid, when these came out. And I'm sure they continued to do that. Just a little bit of fun, more story, just expanding the already great story that we have. So that is our look at the mini rigs for November. So what's coming up next? I gave you guys a teaser of this already in last month's video, and it's the holidays, so I figured why not do holiday Star Wars toys? So I'm going to look at 375 holiday figures. I'm going to look at Black Series holiday figures all the way up to the most recent ones. Yes, I managed to track them all down, so we'll go over those. So if this is your first time seeing those, I will show all of those off to you, including Frosty the Snowman, which is my favorite out of the current bunch, and the Snow Wook, or the Abominable Snow Wookie, or whatever, from last year. Those are my two favorites, so those will be in the mix. So this was our look. If we missed something, let us know. The Energizer is not a mini rig, so please don't tell me you missed the Energizer from the vintage collection. That's an accessory. That's not a mini rig. The eWib was not a mini rig. The Rebel satellite dish laser thing was not a mini rig. Those were from the film. Those were also in that line and that kind of packaging, but not mini rigs. So if we did miss something, let us know. This is we did the best we could. I'm not going to declare it exhaustive that we found every single mini rig. So if we missed something, let me know. I mean, I was pretty surprised. I hope some of you were surprised to know that there were all these mini rigs in all these years. I wasn't collecting as deep on some of these lines. I focused more on original trilogy, so I completely missed this one, completely missed this one, completely missed this one. So maybe you didn't know they were still doing mini rigs all the way up to 2016 with the Rogue One line when they repackaged this one. So yeah. So everything from the first to the last mini rig here, very exciting to see these out here. I love doing this segment. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. It was really fun to research these. So I'll see you next month for that next segment, and then we'll take it from there. So as always, stay vigilant, you Rebel Scum.